First, let's review by creating another building. So I'm starting by drawing a vertical line straight up where the side of my building will meet the sidewalk, a horizontal line to create the bottom of my building, a horizontal line for the top of my building, and a vertical line for the final side of that building. Then I'm going to draw my receding lines from each corner of my building back to the vanishing point. Then I need to decide where my building will end. So I slide my ruler back and create another vertical line, and slide my ruler back for the top and create another horizontal line. Now I'm going to add a triangle roof onto my building. I'm going to start with a receding line that goes way towards the back of my building, and then draw a triangle up from each corner of the front here so that I can try and see how tall or how long I want this triangle to be on the top of my building, and it might take you a little bit of adjusting to get there. Once I have the triangle in the front finalized, I can line my ruler up with that diagonal line, slide my ruler back to the end of my building, and create a diagonal line that will match it in the back of the building. And same thing on the other side. Then I can go in and erase any of the lines that look like they're see-through with the roof right now, so that my roof looks solid and my 3D building is showing in the end. Since I have this triangle-shaped roof, I could add a texture to the top of the roof, for example, shingles. So I'm using my ruler to create receding lines that go all the way back to the vanishing point, to make sure it looks like these lines are going back in space, just like the roof on the top of the building does. Now I'm going to create a window. That window is going to have an overhang on the top. So once I have my window drawn, I'm going to demonstrate that overhang. So I'm making sure that the sides of my windows are vertical lines, the top and bottom are receding lines. Then I'm going to create another receding line that is longer than my window, draw a diagonal line up to connect them, and this will become my overhang for that window, something to provide shade for that window space. Now I'm going to create a flower box that is hanging outside of the window. The top is going to be a receding line, then I'll connect that with horizontal lines. That's the top of my flower box. Then I'm going to create another receding line a little bit lower so that I know where the bottom of my flower box will be. And then horizontal and vertical lines to create the outside edges. Then I could add some flowers or leaves to the inside. To create stairs outside of one of my buildings, I'm going to start by using my receding line, and I'm going to have that go on top of my building so that it'll look like a stair goes up to the door. I'm going to create another receding line to finish that top step. Then I will connect these lines with a horizontal line on the one side and on the other. That's going to be my top step, so I want to make sure that top step touches the ground by drawing a vertical line down and horizontal line across so that it's sitting on the ground. I'm going to draw a really thin receding line next where it'll show my stair going up. Then I need another receding line to show where my second step will be. A horizontal line to connect those. have my second stair. I'm going to draw another receding line very close to that second stair. A vertical line down to connect them on both sides. And I'm going to continue this horizontal line out just a little bit. Once I go back into my stairs and erase any lines that are still showing through from my original building, it should look like my stairs are more 3D. This can be a real challenge. Once I have my stairs, I can add a lot of patience above my stairs if I'd like the stairs to lead up to the doorway of my building. So I'm creating the sides of my doors with vertical lines, and I'll create the top of the door with a receding line across. I'm going to create more vertical and receding lines here so that it looks like there's a frame around the doorway. Then I add a handle to my door for an extra detail to make it more realistic. And I'm going to add a window to the top. I'm going to start with a receding line to decide where the bottom of my window is. Then I'm going to use a curved line to make a curved window instead of maybe just a square or rectangle. This could make my door look a little bit more unique. Next, I'm going to add a two-dimensional sign on the top of my building. So this would be a sign that looks flat. The top and bottom of the sign are going to be a receding line. Then I want to line my ruler up with my building, slide it over to create a vertical line to create the side of my signs on both edges. So they should line up with the sides of my building. Then I'm going to add some letters to my sign, and they're going to start out bigger, closer to me, and get just a little bit more thin and closer together as they move away. Next, I'm going to add a sign to the top of the building, and with this sign, I'm going to demonstrate how to create a 3D sign. So I'm starting with the face of my sign. The part that's facing me is going to be a long, thin rectangle. Then I'm going to draw a receding line back from that. A vertical line down to end where my sign is ending at the end of the building. Then I'm going to write my letters onto my sign. So I'm creating a 3D sign. My letters are going to be bigger closer to me and smaller as they move further away. If you'd like to add a car into the street, I would suggest looking up a photo as a reference image to help you. But I'm going to start by drawing receding lines to create the sides of my car, and then I'm just rounding them across to connect them to create like the top of the car. I'm going to keep adding on to that by extending the front a little bit. This is where the front of the car will be, extending the back a little bit, adding a window onto the back, and just starting with that basic shape first with the receding lines is what's going to really help your car looks like it's going back in space. Now my car is pretty close to me and I can really see a lot of the roof, so I'm not going to see the tires, I'm not going to be able to see too much into the car, so looking up reference photos is going to be really helpful for this step. Next, I'll be adding a bench to the side of my road. This could be a fun detail to add that adds a little bit more realism. I'm going to use receding lines to create the seat of the bench first. Then I'll connect those lines with a horizontal line on one end, slide my ruler down, and a horizontal line on the other end. Next, I'm going to draw another receding line very close to the seat that I just drew and connect them with vertical lines up and draw a thin rectangle facing me to help the seat look like it's 3D. Then I can create the top of the bench with my receding lines to create the top and bottom of that top piece, and follow the same steps to make it look like it's more three-dimensional. The last thing that my bench will need is some feet on the bottom of the bench to lift it up off the ground. So I'm going to draw those as vertical lines coming down that are a little bit thicker to hold up the bench.